7.8 out of 10. Too much water. Pokémon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are some of my favorite adventures, maybe not necessarily the best Pokémon games, but they are a remake of one of my favorite generations, and I think they did a decent job of modernizing the Hoenn games to make an overall fun experience. Though maybe not everybody agrees. No doubt you've seen this meme before, after all it is only 12 years old. So anyway, the 7.8 out of 10 too much water meme originates from an IGN review of Pokémon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And at the time when this review dropped, Pokémon fans were just not happy, or at least they were just making fun of IGN a whole bunch. Then maybe rightfully so. I think that gaming news outlets like this are generally varying quality, but for news outlets run by gamers, there tends to be a weird amount of disconnect between them and the actual gamers online. So anyway, yes, this is a review of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire by IGN, and it is actually relatively favorable. 7.8 out of 10 is still a passing grade, and I actually did reread the review and watch the video, both of which are still up, and like I said, it is a generally favorable review, saying a lot of nice things about how Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have added a little ease to the Hoenn region, while leaving in a bit of the clunkiness of the originals. Those that are discussed in the review are the distribution of Pokemon, how they mostly favor water type, as well as there being a lot of HM moves, and then finally the fact that the second half of the game requires you to traverse a lot of water, which end up being articulated a little better, but when it comes to the finalized graphic that is shown at the end of the video and that was shared online, it sort of reads a little weirdly. Again, the negatives are just kind of summed up into two little bullet points, those being too many HMs and too much water, which doesn't really do a good job of explaining the actual issue that the reviewer has with the games. Then there is also the fact that 7.8 out of 10 is kind of a weird number. Also when I was going back to read this review, it's really interesting that IGN actually includes a link to their discussion of their rating system, kind of breaking down the general thought of each of the numbers and how they would relate to the game itself, also giving some examples. But anyway, yeah, 7.8 out of 10 is just kind of really weird, because it isn't a standard 7 or 8, and it doesn't even meet in the middle with a 7.5. This is almost at the edge of an 8, but for some reason decides to be a little arbitrary by not giving it 8 entirely. Combine that with the fact that basically every other main series game on IGN has gotten like a 9 or an 8 in their rating, it just really made this one feel like an outlier, especially because Pokemon X and Y got a 9 from IGN, when after the release of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the general consensus amongst fans was that it was better than X and Y. So again, it all just kind of felt like a weird little situation. But I will say it was really fun that it contributed to a bunch of memes online, because with these games having an environmental theme, the villains are very hellbent on either making the entire Hoenn region only water or only land. And with IGN's branding being red, it only led to a fun comparison with Team Magma, so I will say that all of those memes were really funny, and especially everything else that we got in the wake of it. Finally coming full circle earlier this year with the release of the Pokemon Winds and Waves trailer, when IGN's Twitter made a funny little post, then Pokemon was in the reply showing them that they never forgot either. But it does kind of bring about an interesting discussion. Does the Hoenn region actually have too much water in it? Well, in all honesty, it actually kind of sorta does. Most Pokemon games will have a section where you have to traverse over a large body of water. And in all of the previous sprite-based games, it felt a little scary too, because there were some points where you were just completely surrounded by water, with no sign of land in the immediate vicinity. Obviously, eventually you would reach something, and then with Fly you could just get back to land safely. And personally, as a child, I was always scared of getting lost at sea in a Pokemon game. But now with the Hoenn region, especially in the design, you can see that it is basically half water. And obviously that is by design, it is literally the theme of the entire game. And the overall progression of the story would have you travel across this body of water a little more than usual, rather than there being maybe like 1 or 2 big ocean crossings. In the Hoenn region, to complete the story, you'll have to go from Lilycove City to Mossdeep City, Mossdeep City to Sootopolis City, Sootopolis City to the Evil Team's secret base, and then Sootopolis City to Evergrande City. That is not at all including Pacific Log Town, which is technically optional to complete the story. And in a modern game where Pokemon appear in the overworld, I don't necessarily see this as being too big an issue, but before the Nintendo Switch, any body of water was just open season for any Pokemon, where literally any tile could be a random encounter, to the point that this was already a meme even back in Generation 1 whenever we discussed going through water or going through a cave, because if you didn't have a repel, you better be ready to fight off any Zubat or Tentacool that come your way. So yes, admittedly the Hoenn region might have too much water, but at the end of the day it is just one of those things that you gotta get over, because there is so much more to enjoy across the Hoenn region with all the diverse environments. And in our world today, I think we could use a little more water. It has been a while since I played through any Hoenn game, and I remember having a lot of fun the last time I streamed Emerald version, so maybe I'll have to find an excuse to do that again sometime soon. Reminder that I live stream every Friday at 2 PM Pacific Standard Time at both Twitch and YouTube. though it really does get me interested in a potential remake of the Hoenn games or a revisit in a Legends game or something, because I would really love to see how those environments are brought to life in a larger 3D world that you're able to traverse a little more freely. And yes, hopefully you might be able to avoid some of the wild Pokemon a little better, so I think that the experience could be a little more fun. But for now, I think the real test is going to come next year when we get Pokemon Winds and Waves. So let me know what you think in the comments below about 7.8 out of 10 Too Much Water, this fun little meme that we had in the community back then, and also tell me your thoughts on Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and if you think that they do indeed have too much water. If you enjoyed watching, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hype up the video as well, but for now I should get back to enjoying my summer and making sure that I really enjoy the water while we still have it. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Cemetery Hill, Cosmo Zero, Shiny Swints, Starshooter, Koi Koi 13, Cheez It 62, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclock 947, Taijirai, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, sometimes early videos, and our members only Discord server, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is Gatorex, and I will catch you all later.
This is Pokemon Omega Ruby and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Witness mega evolutions, battle with your friends, and uncover the secrets of legendary Pokemon. Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, now in one epic bundle on new Nintendo 3DS.